Okay, you had the light of God, imagine, which is constantly sharing. That's the nature of the light. It just shares. And in order to share, it needed a vessel, right? Because the light has to bounce off of something. It has to give to something. Light was giving, vessel was receiving. Everything seems perfect. However, the vessel, because it received the light of God, it wanted to act like God. It wanted to be godly, and it needed to give. There was no one for the vessel to give to. So it shattered. It was called the tzimtzum. It broke away. It was a contraction, broke away from the light and said, I don't want light. I want to live in darkness. I want chaos, and I will earn the light. Okay, so that was a new contract that we made. The vessel made that contract. The light just wanted to give. The light didn't say, oh, I'm so offended. I'm just going to not give to you anymore. The light kept sharing. Okay? At that moment when the vessel broke away, there was a curtain, like a veil that was created between us and the Creator. And the way we remove this curtain is by working on our tikkun. Okay? When we receive without earning, we call it bread of shame, right? Because no one likes to just get and get and get without feeling like they earn. Okay. Okay, I'm going to skip all of this. We spoke about that there's bread of shame between us and the Creator, and we can also have bread of shame between us and another person, right? We spoke about there's two ways of earning. You can earn physically and you can earn spiritually. Everything we do, we earn a living, we take care of our kids. That's all physical earning, and you have to have physical earning to receive. The spiritual earning was something that was new to us. So when we pause, when we're not reactive, that pause creates that space for God to come in, for the light to come in. Okay, so we spoke about receiving too much. I'm going to give another example that I thought of, but this pertains to last week's class. So imagine when you receive without earning it. It's kind of like when we drink, right? And there's like a safety net in place. There's like a safety mechanism. The safety mechanism in the endless was the vessel pulling away from the light and saying, whoa, I need to earn it. The example of drinking, what happens if we drink too much? What happens the next day? What happened? Your body is rejecting that light. You're kind of artificially getting energy. You're artificially getting this light. Your body kind of rejects it, right? It pushes it away. We got the energy too fast. We didn't earn it. It pushed it out. That's how addiction works, right? What are we doing when we're trying to get energy, get our light from other places other than God, right? It doesn't have that endless quality. It's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a temporary fix. It's not everlasting. So imagine, what other addictions do we have? We have an addiction for approval, right? We have addiction to different drugs. There's sex addictions. There's all kind of addictions. And what happens? You feel like, oh my God, they love me. They respect me, right? But the real place where you earn that respect and that love is only with your relationship with the light. Okay? Otherwise, what happens the day after the Oscars? Right? You got an Oscar, you feel great. The next day, you're irrelevant. Right? You feel empty. You feel void. Whenever you take energy from the outside, our vessels subconsciously remember that big bang moment, that tzimtzum. And whenever you receive too much energy from the outside that you didn't earn, you will reject it, right? So that's the getting drunk and then having the hangover the next day. Maybe you vomit. Maybe someone gave to you too much. The way we give to our kids, right? The girl who gets her dad's credit card and she's so happy. And then at one point she feels controlled, right? And she wants to earn it herself. So she'll give the credit card back to the dad and she'll be like, I don't want this. I want to create my own life. So all of those situations, it's a mini tzimtzum. When we're scrolling on the internet, when I'm scrolling, what am I doing? I'm stealing energy from social media. I didn't earn that energy. I'm just taking it. It's instant gratification. What would be the pause? It would be having the self-control to be like, okay, I'm gonna get off now. And it's hard. We just want one more minute, just one more video, right?
Something to fill the void.
Yeah, something to fill the void. Okay, so the curtain between us and the creator, one of the ways you remove the bread of shame to access the area above. I want to be a little more clear. The area above the curtain, I kind of think about it like the clouds and then the sun that's always shining, right? We need to remove our bread of shame to be able to connect, to earn that. But if you have the consciousness of always being one with God, of always being one with the light, you're living above that curtain, meaning you're in flow, right? I'll go back to that. So one of the ways we remove our bread of shame, sorry, it's all over the place today, is you put in maximum effort, okay? So the example that I'm going to give for this is, and I think about it all the time because a friend of mine told me, when I'm looking for a housekeeper or someone to hire at Sharon's office, I feel the need to cast the widest net because in my eyes, that's my maximum effort. Putting an ad everywhere, telling everyone. And at one point, when I feel like I put in my maximum effort, I can let go and then God takes over. Okay? So any part in your life where you feel like you need to remove that curtain to access that light of God, you need to feel like you're putting in your maximum effort, whatever that looks like, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's with your kids, whatever it is. It's like you reach a critical point, a critical mass, and then it kind of like God takes over. Okay, another idea that I wanted to say is, we spoke about giving and how the light is giving. When we give, we need to make sure that we're coming from like a pure place of giving for the other person. We spoke about this a little bit last week, where it's not, I'm giving to you so you do this for me later. I'm giving to you so you kiss my ring and I'm the queen. I'm giving to you so that you're nice to my kid if it's the teacher. You're giving for them, purely for them. Okay. All right, we're gonna go into the new stuff. Okay, so we spoke about giving bread of shame, okay? What are examples or what are ways in which we give bread of shame, right? So we gave an example, if I give too much to somebody, the teacher's gifts where you give with like an intention. Why would someone give an 8-ounce vessel, 12 ounces of liquid? Why would anyone do that? If Overcompensating, yeah, why? From where?
From like a place of insecurity.
Yeah. Usually it's out of fear. We overgive out of fear. We want them to like us. We want to, whatever it is, it's our tikkun. We view the entire world through the lens, the filter of our own tikkun, our own lack, fear, insecurity, whatever we have. We're kind of blinded by it. So let me tell you, we said this last week too. If you have an 8-ounce cup and I pour 10 ounces of water, I caused chaos for you. Okay? But I'm a giving person. But I wanted to share. I'm so nice. I'm a good person. None of that mattered. What matters is I need to be sensitive to the vessel. What does it need? How much does it need? Right? If I'm giving without being sensitive to the vessel, I'm not giving for the vessel. I'm giving for me.
For your own selfish reasons.
Yeah. I'm not thinking of them. I'm thinking of myself. Okay? Imagine like an old lady is standing waiting for a bus stop and she has all these bags, right? And this boy comes and he sees her waiting at the bus stop and he thinks she wants to cross the street. So he's like, I'm gonna help you come. And he's lifting the bags and he's taking it across the street and they're heavy bags. And the lady's like, no. And he really feels like he's helping her, right? He's putting in maximum effort. He's schlepping the bags. It's heavy. He put in his time. He cared. And now he comes and grabs the lady and takes the lady across the street and the bus comes and the bus leaves. And the lady's like, I missed my bus. Why? That guy thought, I'm nice. I'm caring. I took time from my day. I did it for her. But what happened? Chaos. So what is chaos? Chaos is a lack of flow of energy, the proper flow of energy. And I said this last week, you weren't here, so I'm going to try it again. The way energy needs to go, and this has to be like the paradigm through which we filter all of our information, it's always like a light bulb. You have the positive pole, the negative pole, and the filament. The filament is the restriction. It's where we pause. Okay, I'm going to give new names to these. The right column, okay, right column is always chesed. It's sharing, it's giving, right? The left column is gevurah, which means judgment. It's receiving, right? So the positive sign gives off its electron, therefore it has a positive value. The negative sign receives an extra electron. The filament in the middle is the central column. We call it tiferet. It creates balance. When you have these three, you have circuitry. Okay? So in order to give to someone, they need to have a lack. That lady didn't have that lack. She wasn't lacking crossing the street. She was lacking the bus. So there was no circuitry.
Sarah, can I just ask you something interesting? Sometimes as a parent, you see that your kid has a lack, but they're not receptive to receiving it. I see it a lot with like Persian moms in particular. Actually, Ashkenaz too, because it's like trauma from war, is that moms want to feed their kids and they're like, you need nutrition, you need your meat today. And the kids are like, I don't want it. They just want a peanut butter sandwich. And there's like moms I see in shul chasing their kids like, eat the choresh. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
And it's like the mom is anxious. She wants the kid to eat it. She thinks it's good for him. So she thinks the kid has a lack.
Yes.
But the kid doesn't actually want it. It's an interesting, so like sometimes you could see that someone has a lack, but they're not receptive to what you're giving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we're going into right now. That was perfect. So the reason, so now that we understood that, we know why this is class 8 and not class 1, because in order to be sensitive to the other person, you have to first understand yourself. Because if you're coming from trauma from a war, or there's no food, you need to eat, it's your own tikkun, your own lack or insecurity or issues that's now causing you to be insensitive to the person you're trying to give to. Okay. How do you know if you're giving bread of shame? Okay. Or how do you avoid giving bread of shame? So the first thing you need to do is do you want to know? Do you want to know? You're about to give someone advice. You're about to feed your kid. You're about to do whatever. Do you want to know where that other person is at? Sometimes we don't, right? So you need to first connect to their soul and kind of like open the thing. Like where are they? Do I have that desire? Remember, when you have a desire, just having the desire creates a vessel so you could receive your information. You could receive that wisdom, that intuition. Number 2 is consult with the creator. Okay, so let's say I want to teach Arzu in the car last week, Kabbalah, okay? I first have to wonder, does she want to know? And she might say yes, but I need to be like, is she just saying yes or does she really want to know? Step 2, consult with the creator, right? So the creator knows her better than I do, right? He made her, he knows everything about her. So I'm gonna request from the creator to kind of like download Arzu's files. Do you think the creator is just gonna give me that information? Sorry, my baby's here. Yes or no? No. But why? I'm coming from a giving place. I want to teach her Kabbalah. Right? Isn't that great? Why wouldn't God give me access to all of her files?
She has to earn it.
She has to earn it, or do I have to earn it? How do I earn it? Okay, so I'm going to tell you. If I'm doing it because I want to teach her Kabbalah, right? That's kind of for me, that's not for her, right? If I'm doing it because I want her to invest in my project, who is that for? It's for me. So I have to talk with the creator and be like, creator, God, whatever you were going to do, let me be the channel through which you do it.
To remove your ego.
So I'm removed. I have now become a channel of God. What is that called? We call that divine inspiration. You tap into the 99% for like a split second and you get these insights. You get signs. What are signs? Someone who's reading the sign book? What is that? You're asking the creator, you call it the angels or whatever. The angels are what? They're soldiers of God. They're extensions of God. You're asking for a sign. He gives you a sign. You have divine inspiration, right? When we're manifesting, what are we doing? Everything that you want if it's within your realm of, if it's within, in your mind, it's within your realm of possibilities, it's waiting. It's surrounding light trying to come in. Once you recognize that, you create space for that, you now manifested it, as we like to say. You just drew down that energy that's already waiting for you. Okay, so the divine inspiration is opening a channel of communication. Once you have that open, and it's truly to be a channel of God to help the other person, okay, you'll download that information. And that's better than Google, it's better than, right?
Is that how you really felt in the car?
I tried, and it's so hard because I get so excited and passionate that I want to share so bad, you know? So I really tried.
This was going on through your
I
mind.
kept saying, you want to know? Do you want to know? Really? You're driving, you had your own thoughts, you had like a busy day. Okay, so we feel when people have an agenda, like we've all gone to like Sephora or wherever, and you can feel someone coming at you with like the best product, right? But you can like, it feels weird when they have an agenda. They're thinking of their commission, even if it's like the best thing in the world for you. And even if you want it, when you feel that agenda, that it's for them, you're just kind of like, I don't know.
Even a spiritual teacher when they're trying to like project their beliefs on
Yes. The agenda always kills it. So even when they teach like Salesforce teams, they always come with remove your agenda. Don't have the end result in mind, right? You do it for the other person. And that's how you create that flow and that circuitry. Okay, so next step is even as you're talking or you're shoving food down your kid's throat, assess how it's going. Like I said, 5 sentences to Arzu in the car. I had to now stop and be like, is she getting this? Does she like this? Does she want to hear more of this? At any point, if I feel like she's not interested, if I keep sharing, I'm creating bread of shame. I'm creating a disconnect, right? It's a short circuit. We both lose energy, and who gets the energy? Yes. Yeah. So I could.
What's Satan do with that energy?
Your next challenge is harder. Your next obstacle is harder. You become impatient. You become whatever your thing is. Another way I'm gonna phrase it is, okay, it goes into the klipot, the shells, the curtain that's between us and God. That curtain becomes thicker, okay? What I learned recently is not only, and this is like next level, so it's okay if it doesn't absorb, not only is that curtain between us and God, we have that curtain within ourselves. It's kind of like a barrier between your body and your soul, and there's this like membrane, okay? And all of the light that you didn't reveal gets stored there. So then when you re-access it, it comes out of there. Okay. Okay, how do we know if we're giving someone bread of shame? Let me pause. Any questions, comments, fears, frustrations?
Did the thought come, like, okay, so was it your thought, or did God give you the thought to share with ours?
So our thoughts are not ours. Our thoughts either come from God or from Satan. Your choice is once you have that thought, am I going to continue with it? Like, oh my God, I have a fear of like rain. Okay, I have a fear of rain. Am I going to let go? Or am I, oh my God, I have a fear of rain. It's going to rain. I'm going to be dead. What I do after my initial thought is my free will. Right? I'm pausing. I'm either being proactive or I'm being reactive.
So, but God originally put the thought in your brain?
God or Satan.
Or Satan. So
Yeah.
both. And then your choice to pick it. Okay.
Satan is from God too.
Satan is, we said that, yeah. Satan is an angel of God. And he's the best one. He's the most positive one. He's on God's payroll. He's here to help us elevate.
I'm sorry, I came late, but bread of shame is when you are forcing that, the teaching or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
You're giving
so that's
more.
bread of
Yeah.
shame.
Bread of shame is unearned fulfillment. Anytime we receive unearned fulfillment, we don't like it.
Oh, okay, good.
Do you remember from last week? Like if I take you out to
I
lunch,
wasn't here last
oh,
week.
you weren't here. So if I'm giving to you nonstop, like the example I gave is, let's say there's a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and the boyfriend is giving and giving and giving. After a while, the girl kind of feels like stifled, right? So she pulls away, and what happens? He keeps on giving. She'll eventually break up with him, and she might find like a guy who's not as good as the first guy, but she'll feel more fulfilled because we want to earn. We don't want to receive for no reason. And that applies in every area of our lives. Okay.
So how do we know if we're giving the right? Is you're not getting the results that you intend?
Well,
right?
say-
Is that the question you asked? How do you know?
The first question that we addressed was, how do you avoid giving it?
Oh, how do you avoid?
That was, how do you avoid giving it? So before you enter a situation, what are the 3 steps? Do you want to know where the other person stands? Number 2, consult with the creator. Number 3, once you've already started, feel it out. Do they still want to hear you? Do they still want whatever you're trying to give?
And that's your pause.
That whole thing is your pause.
No,
Pause, yeah. Ask,
that moment,
wondering is your pause. Right? Talking to the creator is another pause. Okay, so now how do you know if you're giving bread of shame? You're already giving to someone. How do you know if you're giving it? Okay? We give out of fear, Hannah said. It's from our insecurity. So imagine there's a boy and a girl and they're dating, and after 6 weeks, he gives the girl his credit card. We kind of feel that that's like an inappropriate transfer of energy, right? But why is it? It's because she's not in that place in the relationship to earn having his credit card, right? It takes effort. You get to know each other, right? So anytime you do something from fear or lack, you're feeling yourself, not the other person's vessel. That's a sign that you're going into a situation where you're going to be giving, or you're giving bread of shame. You have to think, how can I help this person feel connected to their own light? And the example is, sometimes we solve people's problems for them, right? Like your kid wants help with a puzzle, right? The thing to not give them bread of shame would be to teach them to sit there, help them earn their light, instead of giving to them, right? What happens if you just solve the puzzle for the kid? You got your end result, the puzzle's fixed, but he's not happy. You kind of took that process away. And when you take that process away, you take away their ability to connect. You took away their light. Right? So this is kind of what Jesus did. So Jesus was at a time where he knew Kabbalah. He was a Jewish guy. He knew Kabbalah. Apparently, he was on the Sanhedrin. All those guys at that time had this, like, not this kind of Kabbalah, like the stuff where he could, make the blind see again, heal the sick, okay? But what was he doing? If someone is, and this is a hard pill to swallow, if someone is born with a challenge and you just fix it for them, what did you do?
Service.
Yes. You solved your kid's puzzle without letting them earn it. If
Having
someone
the
was,
housekeeper clean the room and make the beds, it's so much easier. But like, to get the kids to do it, my God.
yeah. So Jesus bypassed their own tikkun process. So imagine that person has to be born again, now has that life's tikkun and this life's tikkun. Our challenges are here for us to grow. We don't want someone to just take that away from us. We want to earn, to process it, okay.
So Sarah,
Yeah.
how does that fit into, I mean, you obviously don't want to solve things, but if you are capable of resolving an issue, let's say just medical care, medicine can solve
Yeah.
problems.
Yes.
Does that still apply as far as taking away
So-
someone's life? Like,
No,
You know what
I
I
think
mean?
it's a little bit different. Let me tell you why it's different. When there's a medical problem, first of all, there's always a spiritual thing behind it. Okay? And if you're going through something, the challenge of that medical issue gives rise to whatever lessons it is that you're supposed to be learning. Right? So taking medicine for something is part of the process. But someone coming in and just abracadabra, boom, you're done.
got it.
That short-circuited you. I know it's a hard pill to. I know.
I'm trying to see the difference
There's a
between
whole
the
thing
two.
out there now, like
you know.
functional medicine, that
Mhm.
instead of doctors just saying like, oh, you're back here, take this, it's like going to the root cause of why you're having back issues
Right.
and like
Yes.
solving it from like a holistic perspective and taking medication, but it's like a whole deeper.
Right, but if like there's surgery that solves the problem, then
Even the surgery that solves the problem, it's pain, it's suffering, it's
Yeah.
going through your fear. It's a process.
got it.
Okay. So the next way you know that you're giving bread of shame is if the person you're giving to does not appreciate what you're doing or what you're saying. It's a sign, right? So like look for that. The person is not listening, right? Like imagine if Arzu asked me in the car, Sarah, I want to hear about the Kabbalah class, tell me. And then I begin to talk and she's just like, you can feel they're not listening. So like look for those signs.
Oh my god, I get my phone.
Sorry, I'm using you as an example. It's just coming to me.
No, whenever I'm with her, I'm gonna be like, wait, is this a song? Is it? She's like testing me?
So they say that your relationship with someone, when you're in that place, should lead to blessings. So they say that like when a Sadiq or a Kabbalist, a true connected person comes into a room, everybody in the room gets blessings, okay? Because you kind of like tap into his light. His inner light becomes your outer light. And I think I explained this last time. Your outer light is kind of like pressure from God, right? Trying to give you blessings and come in. So you want to be careful who you hang out with because whoever you're with, their inner light becomes your outer light.
Wow.
Okay? So our job is to be like a conduit of blessings, right? So it may cause someone to have ups and downs. Like if I tell Arazu, you have to tie your shoes that way and not this way. Sorry, it might be frustrating for her, but it doesn't bring chaos. So we know some people who, wherever they go, they just bring drama, okay? Their business relationships are chaotic. Maybe their romantic relationships, their friendship relationships, it's just chaos. And they mean well, and they're good people. What's happening in those situations based on what we've learned so far?
That's their pattern. That's their story.
They're not,
They
yeah.
have to resolve something, and so it keeps getting recreated for them until they fix what's the root.
Yes, that's
Healing.
true. I wanted to take it one more step and relate it to this topic. They're not properly transferring their energy. So there's no circuitry, right? There has to be a circuitry, like the light bulb, right? So they're giving more than whoever around them can receive, which ultimately becomes taking. Remember the example about the king having a party or whoever taking the food to the homeless guy, and he thinks he's giving the homeless guy food, and the homeless guy's like, I don't want it. And he tries to get it, and he makes it fancier, and he's like, I don't want it, but if it makes you happy, I'll take it. In that situation now, the king is now the receiver, and the homeless guy is the giver. Okay? So those people who come into their own lives and they bring destruction, it's an improper transfer of energy. Okay? What's an atomic bomb? Atomic bomb is one atom that releases more energy than all the other atoms around it. The other atoms around it can't handle that release of energy. What happens? It's a disaster, right? So how do you destroy someone? You want to destroy your enemy? Give, overgive. But I'm not really saying do that because you'll be destroyed in the process, but that's the formula for it. Okay, so our role is to make sure everywhere we go, blessings occur.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that out? How do you balance like giving? Like I know you said like I mean you kind of try to see hints if the person wants to get it or not, but if you don't see the hints, if you keep giving and giving and you don't realize it,
They'll pull
you're
away from you.
overgiving it.
They're going to pull away.
Okay.
They'll pull away. They'll become resentful. But now that you know this, you'll look for those hints. But if you keep missing it, that you're causing an imbalance, the relationship will fizzle. Inside of us, we all have a subconscious memory of that Big Bang. right? So whenever we receive and it doesn't feel good, we'll subconsciously just pull away. We don't like it. Somehow you'll destroy the relationship. You won't even know why you're doing it, or the other person won't even know why they're doing it. But they'll just, I don't want to hang out with you, and something's just not right. Did that answer your question?
Sarah, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can the reverse also be true? Like, let's say you have someone in your life
Yeah.
who they need your advice, they need your attention, and all you do is like you give it, and it's not that they need it. They call asking for it. Can that also cause like that imbalance, or as long as they need it and you're giving, you're still like in balance?
Yeah, it
You know
sounds
what I
like if they need it and you're giving it, but I think, did you say that they weren't able to hear you or receive it? Did you say anything?
No, I think, I don't know, because like, they kind of for themselves go through the same pattern.
So you have to kind of like, some people ask a question like what should I do? What should I do? And you start to tell them, and then you haven't even finished your sentence, and they're like, no, what should I do? But what about this? But what about this? Did they hear you?
I know you mean those relationships where someone needs you so much and then you give it, but you kind of feel like they suck the life out of you.
Yes.
And so you just don't, even though it's a good thing, they're needing, you're giving, but it's
Right.
like, it's so exhausting.
It is
That I
exhausting.
tend in those things to want to just like
They're
retreat
not
from that.
picking up.
Because there's
that
not
she
a
doesn't
balance of like giving and, I think a healthy
I think it's
relationship
just
needs a balance
exhausting
of
because like you
both.
give the advice.
And you're just
but then
always
it's
the
same
giver.
pattern.
It's
That person is
exhausting.
probably not hearing you.
That's what I was
They're
gonna
not
say.
applying it. They have to have, remember last week we said that they have to be able to hear you and make change from it. It can't just be that you're spewing
What
something
if they
and
are
it's,
hearing you and making change, but it's exhausting
still
to be
exhausting.
the giver? Yeah.
Yeah.
feel that out yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, each situation is gonna be, you'll titrate it
And that's her tikkun.
to figure out where to draw her line. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Because we all, as women, I feel like as Persian women, Jewish women, we all kind of want to like give. We want to feel like we're the good girl. We gave, we shared.
Mhm.
We're the mitzvah girls, right?
But I think one of the main things that sticks out with me is what you said as far as why are you giving? Because so many people give because I'm doing mitzvah, I'm doing that, but it's not, it's the intention, and I think that's where the key is knowing why you're giving, or, you know, your reasoning for it.
Right.
And there's like no circulation, just like how you said, it's not like a
Yeah.
I just
receiving.
thought of something. I thought of a scenario like you mentioned. It resonated of like someone who's always like needy, and it's like I kind of avoid their calls because I'm like I'm just gonna have to give so much. And I was thinking, so what's not right? Like I should be able to give if they need it. Maybe that person is relying on. Let's say I'll say this. Maybe it's time for that person to stop relying on me, and I'm like sensing
Tap
that. And
into
I'm
their
like,
own life.
you can do this yourself. You don't need me to tell you what to do. So maybe it's time to acknowledge that person thinks they need me, but maybe they don't actually.
It's like enabling. It's like giving drugs to like a druggie.
Right.
Right. You know?
Right.
That's
It's
not
not
giving.
You didn't need it, but maybe
They need to get their together.
Yeah.
yeah.
So the best situation, I don't know if you can in that, would be to teach them or to make them see that they can connect to their own.
To their own life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you feel when someone's like
Yeah. You
stealing
feel
your
it.
life.
Yeah, you
Not
feel
stealing,
it.
but like sucking it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's short circuit. You feel dark after. Okay. So when I said that people, the destructive people or whatever, their inner light becomes your outer light, does that mean we stop hanging out with everyone we know who is like that? No. We still need to support people, be there for people, just in a balanced way. Another concept that I learned that was a really big one is when you depend on people, emotionally, financially, whatever way you depend on people, you're marrying your consciousness and theirs. It's almost like you're intertwining your level of consciousness. So if there's someone who's like an energy sucker or I don't know the energy sucker, I don't know what kind of person they are, but the kind of people who come in who always have chaos and drama, right? If you're now going to them for any kind of advice where you're dependent on them, you fall to that level of consciousness. That one was a big one.
Are you allowed to tell the person your circuit is not flowing? Like,
You got a short circuit, honey.
like not här, därför boş maskinen ner complain.
Yeah, no one likes those kind of people. They're takers.
But
Yes.
are you
They're not realizing they need
But
to
when
stop.
Yeah.
but if you're not going back to that, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. But are we allowed to like?
Well,
nice
let me
to-
tell you, if I taught you this on the first day, would it work? Would you have a vessel to receive bread of shame, light, energy, endless, tzimtzum?
I know a lot of this. So
Not you,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
anyone on their
maybe
first day.
not, yeah.
So if you're gonna go to this person and
Yeah,
you're gonna
she's
say
gonna
these things, they don't have a
get
vessel
up
for it. They can't hear you.
Yeah.
So again, it's a short circuit.
Yeah.
But you could figure that out and you could
Yeah.
see where you stop giving.
You balance.
Yeah, we all have people who are always right. You know, they're so logical, they're right, they know the situation, this, that, this one messed me up, this one did this, da 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 da. Those people who are right, they're such good debaters and they are right, but I always tell myself you could either be right or you could be with the light. If you're operating on who did this, who did that, you're in the 1% world.
Yeah.
Go up to the 99%. That stuff doesn't matter. Right? Yeah.
So can I ask one? Okay, so with that person that's always like taking energy, let's say, if you don't go for them to advice, and how do you balance that? Like, how do you balance the dynamic of them always taking from you? You understand? So that how do you get from them then if you're going on their level by asking them, and you do you know what I'm trying
Does
to
it
say?
Rephrase
always
it.
have to be two ways?
You
I
don't
think
always
so.
have to receive
I
from the
don't
same
think it
person
has
you're
to be
giving
two
to.
ways.
The certain like this, the positive pole is never receiving from the negative.
But it just works.
So a
It-
healthy relationship, in my opinion,
Yeah.
is like one where there's like a balance, right?
Maybe their way of giving to you is by you learning boundaries for
Yes.
yourself. So like they're sucking the life out of you. You don't want to get anything from them because you don't trust their opinion or whatever it is. But you're like, this person is teaching me to have boundaries.
Yes.
So that's your way of receiving from them.
I get that's actually. I think I had to do that with someone where I just like completely had to shut off. Where I was like, I can't, because I tried finding that balance and it was so hard for me. But it was probably like, I can't.
See, that was a process.
So
for
maybe
you.
eventually you will be able to
Yeah.
because you learn the,
Like,
from some people I feel like you learn what not to be. So even let's say they're being obnoxious or whatever it is, you can look and be like, wow, I'm really seeing how you don't make space for other people, and I'm learning for myself. Like, mental note, don't do that, you know? That can be what you learn from that. Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. The other way is you start feeling they start resenting you. How do you know if you're giving someone bread of shame? Is they start resenting you, right? This happens a lot with, like, imagine the kids, because we try to control their process, right? We're telling them what to do, how to do it. We overgive to them. We helicopter parent them. We don't give them the room to kind of earn and figure it out themselves. How do you know if you're receiving currently bread of shame? You feel angry, right? You feel like a sense of like entitlement. When you feel entitled to something, it's different than deserve. We should feel like we deserve everything. God wants to give us everything. We deserve everything. But when it's entitled, it's almost like you're never full. It's never enough, right? It's like a hole in your cup. Like, you then take it for granted. Let me think if I could do an example. Like a cell phone. You're so excited, you get your iPhone, it's great, you're so happy with it. What happens after like a few months? You don't get that energy from it anymore. It's almost like you're entitled to your cell phone. And now you're like pissed that it's not working well and it dropped a call. Or your spouse, you courted your relationship and put so much effort into your relationship. You got married, right? Now they walk in the house and you're kind of like, whatever. And you're putting your energy into like a business deal or this or that. You're now courting other things. You take that, you feel entitled to the energy of that relationship, right? So there's like a thing with trying not to ever feel entitled, but also knowing that you deserve everything. Okay, so that's basically it with that. There's two more things that I just wanted to talk about. Rejection and failure, because I feel like we experience this in our lives a lot. We feel rejected either from our spouses, from our kids, social situations, or we try something and we fail. Someone brought it up last week. I can't remember in what context, but just to say that every time that happens, that's like a launching pad to move forward, right? And when we see those things, remember it's pause and what a pleasure. Hannah said something last week. What a pleasure. What does that mean? It's saying the rejection, whatever happened, the challenge, not just that it will be good, but it's good now. It's a blessing that I have this challenge because it's here for my benefit. It's here for my growth. Another concept that I wanted to make sure I spoke about was another way we enlarge our vessel is to be like a river. There's a concept of flow, okay? And not like a swamp, right? It's like the divine inspiration, right? When you're a river, it flows through you. The energy flows. When do we become a swamp? When we hold on to resentment, we're bitter, we have like dwelling things you're holding on to, right? But I was right, but he did this. But whatever it is, when you're there, you're stuck. The energy can't flow. You don't have room for the light of the Creator to come in, right? You have expectation. So that's why everything we've learned till now, the pause, what a pleasure, all of that is to put us in that place of flow so that we can let go. People say like, how could I forgive? Okay, or if I forgive them, but I can never love them again. When you let go, okay, and recognize that they were just the puppet to hurt you in whatever way that had to be hurt to trigger your own tikkun, right? And you let go of that, what happens? The light comes in, that will take care of it. The light has everything. One of the colors of it was love. That will come in and the love will come, right? So we said this last week too. Leave it, God will take care of it. How do you know you're not letting go? When you have anxiety. Anxiety is because you're holding something. You're holding an idea of how you want something to go. You're holding, what else? You're afraid something bad is gonna happen. It's fear, give me other words for it. You're attached to something. It's a lack of certainty, right? Certainty is a big one, it's a lack of certainty. And once you realize what's meant for you will come to you, you're able to kind of let go a little bit.
Anger too.
Anger, yeah. So an example that I'm gonna give with this is, I remember I was like 17, 18, and I was working at my dad's office, and I saw a laser and dermatology center, big and cool, opened right across the street. And I was like, oh, Dad, that sucks. It's gonna hurt business. And he said, nobody ever takes anybody else's sustenance. Wow. And I was like, what? And now I get it. Because what's meant for you is endless. What's meant for him is endless. So if your competitor in business, friend, whatever, has infinite, it doesn't take away from your pool of options. It doesn't take away from your sustenance, your friendships, your light. So when we have anxiety, it's because we're afraid that someone is taking my resources, however you want to define that. These concepts are all living above that level of the curtain of the bread of shame. We're living above the curtain in the realm of the 99. Because in the physical world, what do we feel? We feel like resources are limited. I better grab it before he grabs it. I have to push him out of my way, right? But when you see that that's just the 1%, the 1% reality, it's the physical reality that we observe with our five senses. In the true realm of things, we all have endless. They say the number one reason that people feel exhausted is because we're ruminating in our head, right? We're all having that conversation. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have said this. It should have gone that way, right? What we're doing is we're holding on to something. There's no flow when you're ruminating. It's like having a swamp. Sorry, guys.
You're being
Yeah, I guess. That's kind of why we escape, right? Like, what do? We drink, right? We drink. Oh, sorry, Ghazal, thank you. I thought it was a human.
It doesn't even.
Oh.
Sarah,
He's a human.
Needs your signature.
Do you know where it is?
Yes.
Oh, you guys, I have a question. So I asked Brahmi's Pizza, why don't you ever come on Ventura Boulevard? And he said, I never want to take business from Aroma. Or that time it was Nagila. So what
Maybe it's just the rent is more expensive than Ventura.
I don't think anyone makes that decision, to be honest.
Probably he's doing well enough, he doesn't need to.
I asked
But
Nagila
that's
what.
what
There's also something to being sensitive to not invading someone else's space.
Yeah.
I think it's to be sensitive to that, but also know that if someone is, if there's competition near you, not to be threatened.
So that's the ruminating. The ruminating is when you're not letting go of an idea and you're worried because you're living in the 1% that there's not enough resources or something's going to happen. You're holding on to something. That's why we escape, we drink. So the only way to get past that is kind of to walk into the fire, right? Because they say the cure is in the problem, right? When you walk, like imagine you don't want to see someone, you don't want to go somewhere, you don't want to deal with something, right? You need to go into it. That's where the healing will take place. That's where you'll connect.
So what if you keep doing it, it doesn't work?
Tell me, what does it mean it doesn't work?
Seeing that person, it doesn't work.
You still get triggered?
Yeah.
So you're not done with your tikkun. You'll get to a place where you're no longer triggered. Like, why is it bothering me? Why is it in my movie? These were the earlier classes that you missed. But when something happens, like let's say someone is hurtful to me. So the example I gave was someone clicking their pen. If it bothers me, it's because I have something in me that they are awakening. And it will continue to bother me until I resolve that within me. So if someone is, greedy, and it really bothers me that they're greedy, is there somewhere in my life where I come across as greedy? I have to evaluate it. It could be a mirror trigger, it could be a general trigger. Do I feel like they're greedy? Because you have to resolve it. Okay.
Sorry, I wish I could sit here and have to go. I love Sarah's the best.
So our current reality, we're living under the creator, under the curtain, we're living below the curtain, okay? But we need to have the consciousness where we're trying to live in that realm above the curtain, okay? It's the endless. It's also called the tree of life. We have a brain-body connection, and it's something that's very big in medicine, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, where there's what we think and how we believe affects our body and the diseases that we do or don't develop and how we can heal ourselves, right? That's kind of connected to how we are with God. When I say be a channel, imagine he is the ultimate brain and we're kind of connecting it. Let me think if I could say this in the right way. When I was saying I want to have divine inspiration so I could see how I talk to Arzu and if she needs to hear it and I can download her files, imagine your brain is like God and then you have your two hands, right? Does your right hand beat up the left hand? Does the right hand ever say to the left, you did more, you did less, I was supposed to get that? No. Or if you think something, like if I think, let me grab this paper, it's not even was it Satan? Was it God? What's happening? It's so seamless. It's so seamless, right? So these two hands are like the vaxxer versus the anti-vaxxer, the Arab versus the Jew, right? What we need to recognize is it's all being controlled by the same central nervous system, God, right? The Palestinian is being told to do and say those things. The Jew is being told to say, it's two hands of the same body. So we have to have that consciousness whenever we're trying to connect to God so that we open that line of communication so we can be channels. The goal is to connect. And then, okay, that's it. Any questions? No, we're good.
Say that part that you say you need to flow your energy. Can you just
Yeah,
explain a little
yeah.
bit more?
Yes. You have to kind of be, open and let go and take your ego out so you can be at one kind of with the universe. The Buddhists called this reaching enlightenment. When you totally eliminate desire to receive, what do I want? What's my agenda?
Expectations.
All of it, it's out. And it's just, you're a conduit for the creator. You're a channel for light. So whenever, like I used it in the example of, if I need to say something to someone and I want to know, is this a good thing to say? Will they understand it? Can I really teach Arzu Kabbalah in the car in 15 minutes? Right? Like, she had a really like crazy day today. God, let me know. Can she handle this right now? And then you get like a feeling, right? Those snippets of feelings that we get is when we're in flow.
A question. Somebody once told me, if you want something from God or the angels, you have to say it out loud. Because if you think it is different, but I don't know, I couldn't understand that well.
So that's very true. Thinking it is one level, but why do like religious Jews, when they pray, they're whispering? Because the angels are like the activators of God. They take God's potential and make it into actuality. They say they need to hear you. There's a spiritual concept behind it, but the words are very important. The world was created with words. Abracadabra is abera kedabera. The world does what I say. It's Hebrew. So it's very powerful to say it out loud, even if you whisper it.
So if you think about it, it's not gonna have the
It's
same
a lower
effect.
level of power.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Did I answer your question about the flow?
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
So it's practice.
Yes. No agenda, move out of the way. Whatever God wants to have, like whatever he wants to do, let it come through me. Right? So we're co-creators.
And you're a channel.
We're a channel. We're just a channel. That's what mediums are, right?
Said in the Siddur, there's 3 times you're supposed to do silent prayer. Why is it silent?
It's not silent. Oh, you're whispering it. The Amidah, the silent prayer, they're still whispering it.
Okay.
You hear them.
Okay.
You're whispering it. So it's kind of
So
still,
they do
that vibration is
silent,
still going out.
But it's called silent prayer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because it's not collective out loud. Everyone is going at their own pace.
Okay. And then they say it out loud after you do the
Yes,
silent
collectively.
prayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Any other questions? So I wanted to say, I think I taught you all the concepts of Kabbalah 1. So I know it's only been 8 classes, but I combined 2 twice. So we're basically done. I think I'll take a week break and then we'll start with Kabbalah 2.
Told me in the car she cannot come next week because
Oh.
she has an appointment.
Oh my God, perfect!
She said
It worked out.
I cannot come next.
Okay, good. So you won't miss anything.
You cannot make it next week. I have an appointment.
God
It was
listens
meant
your
to be.
prayer.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yay,
Thank you,
But you guys should know, you have basic Kabbalah now. So everything else is just layers of this.
Layers of
Yeah.
Sarah, one question. Going back to the 15 minutes.
Is it 15 or 15?
No, 15, and then we had an
That's a short
appointment,
ride.
so it was just like a
She's
synopsis.
like, Begu, tell me. I'm like, Ozzy,
Okay, this
ours
is the
was a
side.
really deep class. Begu, just tell me. Naga. Can she? I know, but it's so much. Can I really like pour 12 ounces?
No, it was like a
No,
synopsis.
she had a vessel.
She had a vessel.
Yeah, it was empty. You just had a lot more.
So with that said, Sarah, like again, you had to like kind of reevaluate, like
Yeah.
feel my energy.
Yeah.
Did you get a sign, like for yourself, like
Yeah.
coming
Okay.
in, or was it something I said, or or is it like that you kept going, or is it something that you had? Because I saw you like paused, and I'm like, are you like? You connecting to the line?
It was both. It was both. My first one was ask the other person, try to see, do they really want it, or are they just saying, like, sometimes imagine I go to an airport or I'm at a party and someone's like, oh, I heard you teach something on Wednesdays. What's Kabbalah? Imagine, can I go in that moment? They asked me, they're looking at me. Can I go and say, oh, bread of shame, endless, restriction, pause. They're going to be like, you've asked. Right? They don't have the vessel, even if they're asking. I need to read into it. So that's number one. I try to read your signs. And number two was, I was trying to be like, begam, nagam. And the sign that you're saying is your gut feeling.
Right.
Your intuition.
So you felt it.
Yeah, it could also be a sign. Maybe I would see like a butterfly flying through. I don't know. Somehow that information will come.
Got it.
For everybody. For everybody.
But I had people call me and say, can you tell me what Sarah said last week? Because everyone texted, can you tell me, can you tell me, can you? So I told them, but but yeah.
Sometimes I think I focus too much on how they're taking what I'm saying that I get distracted and I feel like I can't even say it.
Totally. So when you do that, you're thinking there's like an agenda. You want them to hear it the right way.
Yeah.
So I felt like that too. I haven't taught in 20 years. I'm looking at the class and people are giving me blank stares, especially in the beginning. And I was like, oh my God, they're not. You just connect and be a channel and they'll hear it if they need to hear it. But if you're looking to them,
For confirmation.
you're stealing energy from them. Right? The energy that when I teach the class, I try to be really mindful that if you guys say great class or I didn't understand, it doesn't affect me at all. I'm not doing it to hear a good job. I'm doing it to just connect. And if I connected, I did it. So take that with you.
Okay.
Do you have a few minutes to go over last week
I have the video.
Oh, you have it.
I'm just trying to figure out how to upload it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Donna.
can airdrop it. Can you airdrop
It was too big of a file.
it?
If anyone knows how to do it, I would love your help. It's on Donna's phone and her computer.
Oh, Donna's.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it on YouTube. It wouldn't go, it was too big. Yeah, and maybe I'll go see if I could cut it and I'm gonna try to put it on YouTube and then I'll share the link with you guys.
That's Maya.
You're Maya? Yes.
Yeah.
She's into these things?
And I'll be my husband. But yeah, Maya.
Okay, okay.
And then if she can't help you,
Okay.
I'll be.
Is she home today after school? I'll come over with Donna's phone.
She's she has class at 5.
Okay, I'll be in touch with you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.